Oi, what's the best game where you get to eat pie? What's the best game where you play a dead guy? Aye, you'll find out in VG247's podcast. Here, what's the best game where you swing from a rope? And what's the best game where you batter the Pope? Assassin's Creed 2. Like I said, you will find out in this here podcast. Hello and welcome to VG247's Best Games Ever podcast, a show where we like to find the best game within a really specific category. For example, this week we're looking for the best game that could convince outgoing President Biden to resign and let someone else fight this monumental battle for democracy instead of him. I have decided, everyone, that for the sake of my career, I probably need to become a right-wing grifter, so I'm keeping the butcher's apron. If anyone wants to lodge a complaint about that to HR, please do, because it would only legitimize my grievance. So just anything you want to do to help me on that front would be great. I think we're gonna start off this week by if you haven't been following the news, essentially Biden is like America's sort of doddery old granddad who's very, very much past his prime. His best days are behind him, simply doesn't do the job well as he used to. And I think most people around him probably know that he should step aside, but they're too polite to say anything. Yeah. I am joined, of course, today by Tom Horry. How you doing?
It's a good intro, Jim. Just to be clear, your new bit, it involves the background. Is it just the background, or are you going to be throwing in comments are going to cause trouble for me?
No. Just can't be bothered changing the background, that's all. Okay. I quite like it though. I feel like I'm actually in a pub, you know? It's actually, annoyingly, it works quite well.
It's quite homey.
So I'm going to have
just to be clear though, Jim, I don't agree with the analogy that you made.
Which analogy was that?
Between me and Biden. It's not fair, is it? No. I'm not that old, for one.
Yeah.
And also, people still turn to me for advice.
Yeah.
They still say, Tom, can I talk to you about something? And I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And they'll, at the end of that, they'll go, thank you for that advice. Connor does it all the time.
Yeah.
I do. It's true.
That's true.
It's true.
Yeah. Mark doesn't care for my advice, but Connor does.
I would, but I'm physically afraid to.
Right, so the topic this week is the best game that could convince Biden to step down. We've all got a pick. I've been thinking long and hard about my pick, which you won't get to hear unless you are a bestie, which is a paid subscriber of this podcast. Tom,
should we mention that now, right at the top?
Yeah.
How you do that?
Yeah, I was literally about
to leave it late, don't we?
I was about to introduce you to explain, Tom, but then you
didn't know if you're going to. Because usually you wouldn't do that here, would you?
I was literally about to do it, but then you.
Anyway, so if you want to be a bestie, which there are 50 of you now, some of you may not have done subscribe to become a bestie, but I'm just going to assume you did. You can go to the website vg247.com. In the top right corner there's a bit that says support us. You click that. If you're on a mobile, click the little button that expands the menu, then click it, and then you pay £3, $3, whatever a month, 30 a year. You get this podcast extended every week by about 10-15 minutes. Is it? And sometimes it's quite fun, I'd say. Can't guarantee it every week.
Not all the time.
But sometimes
it's pretty
fun.
good. Sometimes it maintains the quality of the rest of the show. Other times it's everyone just has a go at me but you know, can I just say as well, for the next two, I haven't picked an Elder Scrolls, I haven't picked an Assassin's Creed. I've actually picked a couple of games that a lot of people listening might not have played.
I'm genuinely quite proud of you for that.
So, you know, and I haven't done a Connor either. I haven't just looked at the pervert section of Steam and picked something at random.
No. Well, you could argue that Elder Scrolls is kind of the pervert section of gaming, really, for freaks and weirdos.
Oh,
So, you know.
The Skyrim section of Nexus mods, bigger willies, etc.
The pervert section of gaming, you mean all of it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, okay, let's get down to it. So, what could convince America's granddad to step down? He's a stubborn old man, and he's not listening to the ever-growing list of voices telling him that he needs to step aside for the good of the world, for the good of democracy, for the good of all that is good, really. So I obviously don't like him because he's a Democrat, and as I've confirmed earlier, I am right wing now.
You love Trump, don't you? You love him. You love Trump.
I'm a big fan. I like Trump because he's funny on telly, and I think that is enough
to Boris Johnson appeal.
Yeah, well, I love Boris Johnson because I think if you sort of semi-intentionally funny on telly once in a while, then that qualifies you to run the country, essentially.
That's why I voted Lib Dem, because Ed Davies went down that slide and he was doing yoga and stuff.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Same sort of thing, really. What is that going to cause you problems, Tom?
It's all right.
Sorry, yeah.
I'll take any listeners we can get. If they come on thinking, they're listening to a right-wing podcast, hopefully they're not like super right-wing, right? They're just sort of like on the edge. That's tolerable, I guess.
Like a Lib Dem voter.
Just don't, as long as they're not fully right wing, in which case maybe not. But
yeah, sorry, the cat.
A listener's a listener, right? In desperate times.
The cat just started scratching her post, and it scared the shit out of me because I didn't realize she was in here. I thought it was like, Tommy knockers or something. Right? Okay.
You thought
someone had taken a boat over into your house.
Right, Tom. Yeah. What is the game that would convince Biden to step down and save the free world?
You know, when I was on Slack saying, yeah, that's a good choice, that one, Jim, that topic.
Yeah, you signed off on this, actually.
I thought about it afterwards and thought, no, it's not the best because I was struggling for a while. And the next one also, I'm sad that I went along with it because it's not the easiest topic. But I think interesting topic, at least. I was like, what would work here? Like, can we get smart about it? Is there like something in a game that covers a sort of a political issue like this? There's a few that would be a bit dark to mention, where bad stuff happens to people in these powerful positions. I'm not going to mention those because that's the kind of thing that a right-wing podcast might talk about.
Yeah,
and I don't really want to go down that path. And I thought, right, he's confused.
Yeah.
But he doesn't accept that he's confused, right? He's not willing to accept it. And I was like, what if what's made me confused as a younger man, and if it's confused me, it would probably confuse him enough for him to go, right, I'm done, I've got to step down, right? So I thought, what's confused me? And I thought about it for a while, and the only game that stuck in my mind, and I can imagine Connor reacting quite badly to this, right? Because he's one of those people that probably likes this kind of stuff. And it's Super Smash Brothers, right? Reason being, it's just a dumb game with stupid controls, right?
Yeah,
it just is. And like, they're simple controls, as far as I can see, but they're just stupid and dumb. I can never get into it. I don't understand it. Confuses me every time. I don't know why people like it. Just get Biden to play this game. Go like, it should just twiddle this stick, twiddle the other stick, and then this is what you got to do. He won't understand it. He'll be confused. Like, why is that person off the edge?
Yeah.
He's not fallen off though. He's back. What's that number mean? No one has a clue.
Yeah. So you think Biden would play Smash Bros for a bit and be like, I don't know how you win, and then he would have a revelation. Oh God, also, I don't know how to win.
Like, I can imagine he's done some Tekken in his time and stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
probably.
He'd be like, I'm just going to approach this like Tekken.
Yeah.
He'd be trying to do like the combos, and it just won't be working. And he'd be like, why is Donkey Kong not doing the backbreaker combo? And it's just not working. It's like, what's going on? Why have I fallen off? I'm back. How do I cut back? Oh, I kicked him off, but now he's back. And that he's won now. And he's like, there's no sense to it at all. Nobody understands Smash Brothers. People claim they do because somehow they win and therefore they think it's good, but it's not. It's very confusing. The only good bit ever was that mode where you smash the thing in the air and it flies for a while and then lands.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that was called. Was it in the GameCube one? I can't remember.
Yeah, the one where you got to like beat up a punching bag.
Yeah,
and up its percentage, and then
I could understand that to a degree. It's simple, so don't show him that bit, but show him like the new one. Just show him like that video where Luigi dies or whatever it is, as an extra. He'd be like, what's going on? Is he dead? Is he not dead? I don't understand video games at all. Tied to the confusion of the fact he probably hasn't played a game in about maybe ever. Let's say ever. I don't know. I mean, he may have done. Unlikely though, right? I mean, possibly. Tekken obviously being the one game he has. But
he had all his marbles in the 90s, didn't he? So he probably did have a look at Tekken 3 and think
he was
that's
probably
smashing.
in the clubs when they announced the PlayStation. He probably was one of the club
he was
goers.
doing Ministry of Sound with Blair.
Yeah. Do you reckon if you showed Biden like high level Smash gameplay, number one, it'd be like appalled by like the entire scene around it, and number two, do you reckon his like mind would just like his head would just explode?
That's the point. It's like he just can't deal with it. He's had to deal with lots of stuff as president.
If you sent him to an actual like Smash Bros tournament as well, like he'd like a one hit of the BO and he'd be away. Like nah.
He doesn't know those people exist at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he doesn't. And that's kind of a problem with his presidency now.
Yeah.
Like, he just doesn't really
he needs to understand
acknowledge the Smash community.
He needs to understand that the Smash Bros community are like they're clearly for Trump, right?
They need help.
Yeah.
Joe, these people need your help.
Yeah.
Flint, Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't actually matter. But the people of the Smash Brothers Melee community desperately need Joe Biden's assistance, and he's been, frankly, silent on the matter.
Well, if they did a little campaign video, and it was just Biden enters Smash Brothers, he'd probably at least get a couple more percentage points, right? Whatever it is they get, they wouldn't win, but at least get a few people.
Yeah.
How many of them are over? How many Smash Brothers community are over the age to vote?
See, that's actually quite a heavy topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we move on? I didn't know that was a bad
more
thing
than
to
there
bring
should
up.
be, I suppose.
Yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's like My Little Pony, isn't it? It's like there's a big section of like there's a real hardcore audience for it who it is not aimed at all.
Yeah.
I do have one minor quibble with this, which is just the main thing that Biden does to provide people with help is just sending them little packages from Lockheed Martin containing weapons. And I don't know whether the Super Smash players with all of these mad combos that they've already got need more weaponry. I don't know whether that's the help they need.
Who do you reckon he'd play in Smash? You said Donkey Kong, but like...
I reckon he'd
because he's got the tie, he's quite smart.
Yeah.
He'd play Luigi and call him Mario.
So I recognise that. I tried to get this band back in 1950 something. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, he plays Super Meat Boy and call him Ham Mario. Right. So just Super Smash Bros. But if we petition Nintendo to put Biden in Smash, would that swing it? Would it? Because how many Smash Bros players live in key swing states?
It would appeal to like people on social, like particularly on like Twitter. They'd be all over that, but I don't think it would make a massive difference to the overall result.
Yeah, and probably just increase the amount of BO at the Democratic rally, though. So
it's like if he appeared in Roblox. I mean,
that would be the actual.
It wouldn't actually do much though for him.
Yeah.
I can actually see that happening. That's the saddest thing.
Getting youth vote on side.
That's how they'll prove he's not old, right? They'll launch a Roblox game.
Yeah, guys, it's Joe Biden and Roblox.
It's just a rapid fire quiz, and because it's Roblox, you just hammer buttons, and he has to like build up his brain power
strike mini game
to answer the questions. Yeah. Let's make that. Let's make the Roblox game now.
Let's make that.
Let's get this podcast.
Guys,
we can retire,
and we will fund the Roblox Joe Biden.
Biden's drone strike derby.
We've come up with it on work time, so we're done. We can't use this ourselves.
Is this going to be situated next to the IKEA they've just built? The working IKEA that they've just built?
There's a working IKEA in Roblox.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hired people for it.
Yeah.
Do you reckon food prices are lower in Roblox or in the United States of America right now?
Yeah.
I've never seen proof that Roblox characters eat.
Yeah.
That'd be why. No demand.
Mostly just do protein powder. Just bulking up. All the games I've seen, they're just people bulking up endlessly, just bulking up to pull massive things.
Yeah,
that's Roblox, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and GTA San Andreas. So at least there's symmetry there. Right, let's move on to Mark. because I've got to say you hyped this one up slightly, maybe unintentionally. But you did say a couple of times in the Slack, like, "Oh no." So, what have you got that's going to convince Biden to step down and save democracy?
What I said was, after his gaffe today, which was calling his vice president Trump, which she's not.
Yeah.
I suggested that my pick might not quite be enough to actually convince him, just because that would suggest that nothing will. He may be beyond the pale.
I have to say, though, sorry to interrupt, I would say it could be an amazing gambit where he's literally nominating Trump as his VP. That'd be a cat amongst the pigeons.
What could you do? What do you even do? How do you counter that?
Yes, summer of Trump. Carry on, sorry.
But yes, the pick that I've gone with, originally I was going to go with the first Infamous, just because I thought he needed to be convinced that he's not good at things anymore, because he's only running because he thinks he's the only guy that can beat Trump.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first games that convinced me that I wasn't as good at video games as I thought I was. But I found a better one. It is the video game from 1995, 4 years before I was born. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yeah.
It's a point-and-click adventure based on a book by the
Jim's
author.
favourite game. He loves this.
Yes, it looks like a Jim thing. But yes, it's based on a book by an author whose name I can't quite remember now, but they're very famous. And they wrote an episode of Star Trek, so it's the kind of terrifying thing that can only come from the mind of somebody who's told James T. Kirk what to do. But yeah, it's basically... the premise is there's an American supercomputer that's been programmed to run the country and has achieved self-actualization, has realized what it is, and has used that information to call itself Am, which is a fun name, and basically murder humanity apart from 5 people. And it's just decided to drag them to the center of the earth and torture them for 109 years using technology to prolong their lifespans, basically so it can sit there and kind of monologue at them in a funny voice, which is nice. And over the course of the game, you play as these 5 different people because it puts them into different scenarios designed to kind of drive them mad, that are all based on trauma from their lives. There's one guy who had his partner committed to an asylum and feels guilty about it. There's one guy who's a Nazi doctor and gets put into a concentration camp with his mind wiped and has to work out that what he was doing experiment-wise wasn't the best. But yeah, basically you go through it and you have to kind of achieve... I'm trying to think of the word, but basically you've got to atone for your sins as these people and realize your wrongdoing and prove to this AI that humanity isn't actually as evil as it thinks it is. The AI starting the game literally by just saying the word hate in a funny way. But I thought this would be a good pick because people who've been involved in politics, especially US politics, for as long as Joe Biden's has, are basically computers. Like, they've lost the ability to think of things in simple human terms. Everything isn't a thing that affects people. It's just an issue that you have to have a position on, and people will think different things of you based on that position, and that's how you decide. It's the whole Machiavellian thing. So in order to convince him not to run, you can't just convince him he's crap, because that won't stop him.
Yeah.
He won't believe it. He's too deep into the ego of,
You're right.
I've done this thing, I beat Trump, I was very good under Obama, nobody else can do this but me, even though I'm basically a walking corpse, and nobody else has signed up for this, what we're billing as a battle for democracy. Even though, as I say, nobody who's not almost dead is lining up to actually try and save democracy, which is a bit of a problem. But yeah, you'd need overkill, and that's what this is. It's the US foreign policy of picks.
It's an interesting pick, not only because you deal with multiple characters who have just forgotten what they've done in their past,
yes,
and have been alive for like 100 and something years and are ancient, but also because, and here's a bit of a spoiler for the game, the final scene is you walking around on Am's brain, and it's got shards of glass in it all over the place. And I'm just like, this is probably what Joe Biden's brain is like, right? Just like a big bloody mess.
I feel like
you talk to his ego, and he's like, he's all over the place. So yeah, I think on a spiritual level, this is a nice pick.
It's an annoyingly good pick, actually, isn't it?
It is annoyingly good.
From
I also liked your
view,
summary.
It's very annoying.
I also liked your summary of how a politician's mind works, because I think it's one of the most succinct takedowns of that entire political culture that I've ever heard. That whole neoliberal sort of like, well, if I take position X on issue Y, then these people will vote for me, and you can see them making those calculations in real time. You can see Starmer doing it. You know.
So thank you for giving me this opportunity to prove that I am the man that you were alluding to in last week's podcast when you tried to indicate what Bernie's political position was.
Yeah.
I do think I know politics better than you.
That was really well played. And my only regret is that you weren't wearing the leather jacket as you delivered it, but I appreciate that it is hot.
I thought that would give the game away.
You're sorry?
You've not played it, this game.
Didn't it have a bit of a resurgence about 10 years ago? Wasn't it remastered or something?
It had a resurgence like 2 months ago as well.
Did it?
Yeah, like
it was redone by Night Dive in 2012 or something, and re-released after having been about for a while, which is I think what Joe Biden needs. He needs to go away for a while, and then Night Dive will bring him back in.
Night Dive, yeah,
as a fucking cyborg, as a Futurama style cyborg with a head in a jar.
Cyborgs were a big thing one time, weren't they? Everything was about cyborgs.
Yeah.
Films, games, cyborgs. Just now, cyborgs. You don't really hear cyborg that often, do you?
Yeah.
No, and it's a tragedy, really. And I would hope that Joe Biden would fix that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Otherwise.
Yeah, I have no mouth on my screen. Brilliant. You really need to play it, everyone.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
It's not as good as Smash Brothers as a choice, though, is it?
I mean,
to be clear,
on multiple levels, it's not as good as Smash Brothers. But
so let's move on to the next bit. But just hold that in your mind for a moment, Jim.
Okay.
What I just said.
Connor, I'm really looking forward to hearing.
You know, when you get older, you kind of fixate on a boring pastime, right? And for me, it was politics. I've gotten really down bad for keeping up with politics.
Sorry, aren't you like 19?
I'm like 26.
When you got older,
I'm 26. I've been saying I've been 27 for the past like 3 months, and I was talking to my mum, and she was like, "What are you fucking on about? You're 26 years old."
Oh, I did that in my late 20s. I forgot how
Apparently,
old I was.
this is like a normal.
This is a thing that happens. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah,
you didn't know your own age.
I was 28 for 2 years.
Well, I got to like 25, and I was like, "Okay, I'm 25. Cool, sure." And then I just kind of stopped thinking about it as much.
So when you don't get the presents, isn't it? The presents stop. Age doesn't matter anymore.
Well, it's also like when you're a kid and you go out for your birthday, it's a big thing. But now I'm in like my 20s. It's like, do you want to get a pizza and watch the film? And it's like, sure, yeah, okay.
When I turned 27, I thought I already was 27. So I thought I was turning 28. And when I actually
we really are having like the exact same bloody life.
Yeah,
it's really tragic.
When I turned 28, it was my ex-wife who pointed it out to me. Actually, she was like, because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be 29 on my next birthday." That was it, and she was like, "You're not. You're going to be 28." I'm like, "No, I'm 28 now." And we had this whole argument about it, and then I had to look it up, and it turns out she was right. So I was like,
"You had to look it up."
Yeah.
What do you mean, like the database of your birthday?
No, I had to just use
Wikipedia.
You know, you type in, you can type into
Google,
like, how old am I if I was born on blah blah blah. You can, it'll tell you.
Most people just do that in their heads.
But I don't think anyone ever has.
I'm not going to do that. I'm stupid.
Okay.
But and then, but in my head, I was like, bonus year. I've gained a year. So you know,
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, yeah, like it's like I'm still in there. But anyway, so being in my late 20s, I fixated on politics quite a bit. And so I was up at 3 a.m. watching the NATO press conference this morning. As of recording, this was just before that happened. And I watched it live, and it was really bad. It was hilariously bad. He caught wind in the middle, but kind of he started off really, really terrible.
He caught wind, as in burps?
Yeah, as in like a boat catches wind and like sails away.
Okay. He wasn't
like
burping.
No. So he made a bunch of flubs, and a lot of his flubs were related to speaking, right? The poor guy couldn't get his point across in a succinct manner, or he said Vice President Trump.
Yeah, he probably did let a couple of guffs go as well. Let's face it.
He called Zelensky.
He called him Putin, didn't he?
Putin, yeah. Which is, and there's like all sorts of crowd shots of his like
Volodymyr
senior aides and like people going like, "Oh Jesus Christ." So speech seems to be where our friend Joe Biden is having an issue.
Yeah.
And when I think of speech in video games, I think of a cool little game called Lifeline.
Yeah.
Lifeline was a video game released, I believe, in the 90s by Sony and Konami. And it's a survival horror game where you control the character using your voice and voice prompts. You got to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
You've got to be like, hide over there and shoot that thing. And there's a monster over there, be careful. And I think if you sat Joe Biden down, because he seems to think that like he's a good spokesperson.
Yeah.
And can speak to the people, things that like Americans want or whatever. But I think if you sit Joe Biden down on a couch and have him like yell at this lady to walk through a door for like 5 minutes straight, and she's just not getting it.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I can't even be doing this. This is not good. I think it might just suck all the hope out of him, which is what we want.
What do you think how would he react? You know that Kinect game that never happened?
Yeah.
That Molyneux showed off with the boy?
Oh, Milo.
Do you think what would happen if you gave Biden Milo? Well, how would he react to that?
He would possibly take it as finally a son that he could be proud of. But...
Oh, no, you can't say that's the one thing.
Well, you know, that's
proud of both of his sons.
I'd like to thank Mark for really subscribing to this right-wing pivot we're doing.
Sorry, for the record, I like Hunter Biden, but he is just a generic rich kid.
I like Hunter Biden more than Joe Biden.
He's not the end of the world.
At least Hunter Biden knows which room he's in. Do you know what I mean? But
I think if you sat Joe Biden down in front of any sort of like immersive video game, he'd be astounded. It'd be like the moon landing. He'd be like blown away. He'd be like, "Oh my god, there's a whole new world in there."
Yeah, he'd be like, "She's not doing.
Jim,
she's not doing what I
do you believe, Jim? And just to be clear, what your current bit is, do you believe in things like the moon landing?
I don't think it happened. No, I think it's far more likely that something like 75,000 people are committed to a lie, and none of them have ever wavered. And they've maintained this for decades upon decades, I think, because I fundamentally misunderstand human nature to such a degree that I think that's more likely than NASA just actually sent some people to the fucking moon. Okay.
But I do think that if you put Joe Biden in front of like Smash Brothers, which is a game you can just hit buttons and Donkey Kong can throw a barrel or whatever.
Yeah.
He'll be like, he'll giggle and be like, this is great, Jack. And then if you put him in front of I have no mouth on the screen, he'd be like, oh, this is really sad. I'm feeling kind of sad about it. But he's an old guy, so he's read all sorts of sad stuff. You know, his life's been quite sad. I think he'll recoup. But if you put him in front of a game where he just can't function it, he just can't make it work, he'll feel like I must be the problem here.
Yeah.
Which would be great. I think that someone should try and sneak Lifeline into the Oval Office.
He'll be shouting at the woman in Lifeline, and he won't be able to understand why she's not doing what he says, because he's like, but I'm not, you know, I'm the sensible choice. I'm the sensible liberal choice.
As a space wants to just choose down on that.
For progressives, like, it doesn't really matter how progressive I am or what my actual policies are or anything, because I'm just not the other guy. Why doesn't she get this? And she'll be like, you know, just walking into walls. And so, I get it. What if he played Binary Domain? Will we have a similar thing here?
Well, I've not even played Binary Domain, so I can only assume it would really mess them up. Like,
isn't that the one I'm thinking of where it ends? Oh no, I'm thinking of another one where it ends badly.
Yeah.
For the president, I think it might be Vanquish.
Yeah.
It's a very bad ending for the president.
What was the other one that had the president in it? The Revengeance game. Is that?
Possibly.
Doesn't that have?
Oh, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Yeah.
Did that have the president in it?
Doesn't that have like a president guy who's like this big like M. Bison looking dude, and he's like,
no, he's a senator. He's a U.S. senator.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Senator Armstrong.
Yeah.
God, if
and he looks like Kane, right?
And he's like Might is Right America. He's unironically pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Metal Wolf Chaos there for a minute.
Yeah.
Where
nobody talks about that.
That game's fantastic. The president explodes out of the White House in a big mech. God, one could dream, right?
Yeah.
Like, surely.
You've now got me thinking about the Saints Row that you play as the president in.
That'd been good.
You know, it's mad how like and Jon Stewart pointed this out in the Daily Show the other day. It's mad how like Americans.
God, you are a live.
Senior. I'm not. I'm not right, but it comes up on Twitter and he's funny, right? About how like senior Democrats are going. Well, it's only 4 months until the election. You're like, what can you do? And like we had an entire election cycle in 6 weeks. We did it. We changed the government and everything. It's done. It doesn't take that long to do things unless you don't have the actual political will to do them. So
just realised we've done politics in games 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, everyone's going to hate it, aren't they? It's the only thing that's fucking happening. There's nothing happening in actual games.
The whole point of this podcast, the whole point of this podcast, Jim, is it doesn't matter what's happening.
Yeah,
it's evergreen.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. And every week you're like, "What's topical?" And I'm like, "Doesn't matter, Jim. Doesn't matter." That's not the point.
We're getting it all out the way, like Jim says. We're doing it all in a 2 week span, and then there'll be no politics in games forever.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
it's true.
Getting it out of our system.
And I think, Tom, actually, people will be talking about this period in history for many years to come. So I think it is evergreen.
It's perfect. Yeah.
I think the world's going to end in like 10 years.
Yeah, probably. It'll be funny. All right, okay. Well, let's move on to picking a winner. That's exciting, isn't it? That's meant to get you all hyped up for.
I'm hype. I'm excited.
Let's get all hyped up for.
Come on, guys! Energy.
Who the winner is?
Joe Biden.
I think it's been quite a good week, actually.
Yeah,
it's been good.
I don't want to make you pick someone else, but actually, for once, Mark's picked something good.
That's never happening again. Sorry.
Yeah.
Connor made a good argument as well for his choice. I think I don't quite understand it fully as a game. But he didn't explain it that well.
There have been.
The choice seemed reasonable.
There's three solid and distinct arguments.
My choice is
here.
Very good if you think about it properly.
Because a lot of the time on this show, what you get is three different games, but the argument is roughly similar, right? But what we have here is like three entirely distinct, like lines of reasoning for the pick, and it's genuinely all good choices.
The beauty of this topic is that like when you initially hear it, your first reaction is I've got to think something that's topical to or specific to the president as like a position or Joe Biden as a man. But the reality is that he is so old that you could pick any video game really. And it has the potential to send them spiraling out, which is great.
Yeah.
It means you have total freedom.
Yeah.
It's also the fact that you've got a mission to do. You've got to convince them.
Democracy's in your hands, Mark.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, well, I think I'm going to, on balance, go for Mark. I think Mark deserved the win this week.
It's just because he said some stuff and you were like, oh, he's smart about politics, isn't he? That's the only reason he's won.
I have to say,
as soon as he started talking, as soon as he started talking, I knew it. He was just saying all the right words for you to go.
Me picking a winner based on someone saying some stuff is the entire premise of the show.
Yeah, but he just blinded you by all this stuff that made him sound like he's like a political correspondent or something.
No, I thought
you were like, oh yes, that's wonderful. Yes, I like this
really
kind of stuff.
Good observations.
I was up to 3 a.m. watching it.
Yeah,
you don't care about that.
I did. I studied for this.
I'm not saying Connor doesn't also have some valuable insights.
Just because Connor's not as good as putting words together as Mark.
Yeah,
it's true.
You have punished him.
I mean, For balance, I was sitting at 11 p.m. last night watching a playthrough of the game that I picked in bed just to try and check that it was actually what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe.
And that's the kind of that's the kind of commitment.
I picked mine this morning.
Yeah.
In about 2 minutes.
Yeah. So did I. Funnily enough. And if you want to hear that pick, what is it you've got to do, Tom?
We said earlier, go to the website,
subscribe.com,
click subscribe or support us actually. It's there in the top right, in mobile, click the button, and then it pops up and you get extra bit every week. Plus you get the website, which go and look at the website as well. It's good.
Yeah.
Without ads. No ads on the website if you pay.
And I think everyone can be proud of themselves this week. And I have to point out that Connor hasn't fully kicked off despite losing. So I think even Connor Game is recognizing game, right?
I've been given advice by not only my GP, but my loved ones around me and my therapist that you're just not worth it. You're just nuts. So it's fine.
That's horrible. It's
a new era, I'm a new, more relaxed person.
I can't believe.
And I'm sorry for the loss of 20, 25 subscribers we'll have as a result. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there we go. Do you mean like the people listening, or do you mean me personally?
No, people listening.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh,
I think people quite like it when I get annoyed and start yelling.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, people love it. But you've managed to maintain a sort of a calm zen about you.
Just a better person, better man, better person. If you want to hear me yell at Jim, you've got to subscribe, because I'm going to yell at him in 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So
bum guffs.
It's the reason
What was that? What was that? It just faded out.
Why was it being yelled into a cave?
It's like Superman throwing something to the fucking space.
And if you are a paid subscriber of the podcast, this is what you're paying for.
How did that even happen?
Just click the wrong thing.
Just leave it back on itself. It's brilliant. It's really good.
Right. Okay. So the best game to convince Biden. Now, I was thinking about what presidents do once they leave office,